Hello, in today's video I'm going to share with you the 4 things that finally healed my thyroid. It's been more than 2 years of trying hundreds of different things, supplements, herbs, diets, foods, lifestyle changes, anything that would finally optimize my thyroid function. And I'm very pleased to tell you that right now my thyroid function is optimal. I made a video very recently about my most recent blood test results. They're all perfect, so I feel that it's time to finally share with you the things that really made the biggest difference for me, because trust me, there were way more things that made things worse or didn't work at all, but today is just for the stars. So let's get started. So the first thing that really helped me in my journey, that happened more than a year ago, was finally fixing my digestion. I suspect that I had a bacteria called H. pylori that lives in the stomach and creates a lot of havoc, disturbs the digestion, gives you stomach pains, lowers the pH of the stomach, which basically makes it very difficult to absorb enough nutrients. I took 1000 milligrams of mastigum a day for 2 months, so 500 in the morning, 500 in the evening on empty stomach, and then half of that dose, 500 milligrams, for another month. And that really made the biggest difference. If you read about mastigum, you'll see that it's really the most effective thing when it comes to fighting H. pylori. And then while the oregano oil is really good for H. pylori, any kind of bacterial overgrowth, but also for candida, so I knew that it would be really good for me too. I took 4 drops of wild oregano oil dissolved in a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil twice a day for 2 weeks. And I did 2 courses like that with a 2-week break in between. That really made a huge difference for me. So these 2 things made me extremely regular. I don't think I'd ever been regular in my life, but after this treatment, I was very, very regular for the first time in my life. It also completely got rid of my bloating after meals that I had for pretty much my whole life. And yeah, my digestion started working like a clockwork. No more pains in my stomach. The next thing that really made a huge difference for me was addressing hormonal imbalance. So I never really had proper regular periods. Since the day they started, I always had them really heavy, really long, really weird, and I knew that something wasn't right. Plus, I took the birth control pill for 10 years, which obviously helped me with those period symptoms, but at the same time, it made my hormonal imbalance even worse when I came off the pill. So I knew that there was a huge problem there and I had to solve it. At the beginning, when I started my journey, my estrogen was a little bit high, at least at the time when I tested, but now I know better, and I know that I should have tested it at a few different times of my cycle to find out what was really going on. The thing is that in reality, my estrogen was actually too low. And with it being too low, I wasn't able to have strong ovulations, which means that my progesterone levels were getting slightly, gradually lower and lower and lower. I knew that it was very important for me to address that, because you'll be surprised how much hormones actually impact on everything from your thyroid to your mental health, to the health of your skin, your hair. Everything is affected by it. So the 2 things that really helped me to get my hormones back in balance, or almost back in balance because it's still a work in progress, is shatavari and maca root, which is not really a herb, but it's still called a herb. So shatavari is an Ayurvedic herb. I already talked about it a few times before, but it's incredible for women of all kinds of ages, and it actually promotes the production of the follicle stimulating hormone, which means that more estrogen will be produced, and in turn ovulation will be stronger. So for me, it has been a miracle. It has made me feel so much better, and it made my skin and my hair, everything so much better. So I can't say enough good things about the herb. And then maca root is really something that nourishes the whole endocrine system. It's really good for the thyroid, for the adrenal glands, for hormonal balance. So maca has really helped me so much. And when I started taking these herbs, maybe within 4 or 5 days, I started feeling profound changes happening in my body. It was really quick. The third thing that really made a huge difference for me was iron supplements. So when I was a teenager, I told you that my periods were really heavy and really long. So I was badly anemic when I was maybe 13, 14, up to the age of 19 when I started taking the pill. And I was also growing really fast, which made things even worse. So with the supplements, we managed to get me out of anemia. But I suspect that my stores were never really replenished properly. I was just kept above the water, but I never had optimal reserves of iron restored. And I think that's probably where my problems with the thyroid came from as well, especially when I got off the pill after 10 years of using it and my heavy periods came back. Slowly my iron started being depleted again, and that's when my thyroid function really got worse. The truth is that iron is actually very important for the production of the thyroid hormones and for absorption of those hormones. So having low iron is the worst thing for thyroid. So I started taking iron. At the beginning I took quite a high dose of around 50 milligrams a day, and that made a huge difference for me. Now I just take 25 milligrams every single morning, or mostly every single morning. Sometimes I take a break, and that really makes a huge difference for me. I feel so much healthier. And just a few days after I started taking iron, I started feeling that I could breathe better. I wasn't yawning all the time. I didn't have a feeling like I was lacking oxygen. I didn't have this tightness in my chest. I could exercise so much better. And I always pair my my iron supplements with vitamin C or orange juice that I just freshly squeezed, or a couple of clementines, or something that contains quite a lot of vitamin C, because it really helps absorb iron better. The next two things that really made a difference for me were copper and zinc. You won't be surprised because I've talked about both so much. So copper, I've been in love with it for around a year now. It made a huge difference for my health. It stopped my hair loss at that time. And zinc is like the perfect companion of copper. They kind of interfere with each other's absorption, so it's important to take them at different times of the day. So if you're deficient in one of them, it's very likely that you'll be deficient in the other two. So lately, for the last month or so, I've been taking both copper and zinc in small amounts every single day at different times of the day, and has really made a huge difference for me. My nails are incredibly healthy now. My cuticles are so nice and nourished, no more hangnails. And the most important thing for me is that even though I fixed my thyroid and my numbers were good, my hair loss was still really bad, and I was desperate to find a solution for that. So zinc and copper finally completely stopped my my hair loss. But at the same time, it made me feel even better, and I feel like it really improved my thyroid functioning more. And that's because both zinc and copper are also very important in thyroid hormone production. So these are the 4 simple things that I did, and I can't say that I really looked after myself, that I got a lot of sleep, or that I meditated, or did really good stress control. I did none of that, because I actually had the most stressful month of my life when my cats got sick and we lost one of them. So I was in extreme stress. And plus I had countless sleepless nights. I was running a really bad sleep deficit, but despite that, physically, I was actually feeling better than I ever felt. I did exercise quite consistently though, but I made sure that I didn't overdo it. I definitely stayed away from any kind of overtraining, because that's not good for a woman's body. So now if I look back, and if I had to give tips to anybody healing their thyroid, I would say first, check your hormones, especially if you're a woman, because it's very likely that behind everything there is some kind of a hormonal imbalance. And if your doctor checks your hormones and tells you that the levels are fine, don't trust them. Ask for the numbers, ask for a printout, and do your own research. The next thing, I would definitely check iron levels, especially if you're a woman of childbearing age and you have periods every month, because that's also one of the most common reasons for thyroid issues in women. Another thing I would definitely check and try is zinc and copper. Those 2 things are so commonly low, especially people going through a lot of stress, people going through chronic illnesses, overtraining, being on restricted diets, going through eating disorders. It's so important to get enough of those 2 minerals. So I would definitely either check the levels or try supplementation and see if it makes a difference. And lastly, if you have any kind of digestion issues, you definitely need to look into whether you have H. pylori or any other digestion issues and try to heal them. Try to strengthen your digestion, because so many people just go for all kinds of food restrictions. But the thing is that not only you will not get enough nutrients like that and stress your body and your mind by doing that, but also the more you restrict, the more sensitivities your body will develop in the long term. So in my opinion, the aim should always be healing and strengthening rather than eliminating and restricting your mindset and your body. So that's what I would tell anybody trying to heal their thyroid, the 4 things that made a huge difference for me. I hope that this video helped you and gave you some ideas for your own healing journey. If you have any kind of questions about my healing journey, let me know in the comments. And if I don't speak to you before Christmas, then I would really love to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas to you and your family. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.